how did I come to know Jesus? You know, like a lot of people, I grew up in the church, and so I can easily say that's where it started, but I think as I got older, I was introduced to music, and not to sound cliche for somebody who leads worship here, but that is where my story started. That's where I started really connecting with Jesus.
Well, I got introduced to Jesus back when I was 21 years old, and I had had a pretty rough life, kind of a wild child.
I was born and raised in the church, and I've always known who Jesus was, but it wasn't until after a series of events that he became very, very real to me.
I came to know Jesus really through a legacy of my family and being raised in a church. My parents took us to Sunday school, and hearing those stories about Jesus were just always kind of a part of my life and my childhood, and I really took that as the seed of my faith.
So growing up, my family didn't go to church, but when I was in 3rd grade, my friend Amanda invited me to Awanas, and through Awanas and being involved with her, I became involved in the church. Every Sunday, every Wednesday I was there, and I even got 2 of my sisters and my mom involved.
So I came to know Jesus in a very special way. I was very fortunate to grow up in a home where I had parents who modeled for me what it meant to follow Jesus. So I kind of grew up seeing that and being surrounded by people other than just my parents who did that. And I had the example to see what it meant to be a follower of Jesus and part of the church.
But I ended up deciding that I really needed a new life, and I needed to know that I was loved and that I mattered.
As I became an adult into college, I was surrounded by people in other churches that helped me grow in that faith and really make it my own.
But the first time I really thought about it was when we had been trying to have Tiffany for a long time, and with no luck. And finally, after a lot of prayers, our prayer was answered, and we were blessed with a beautiful baby girl.
And they told me about the love of God and the hope of Christ and the cross.
So as a teenager, I began to think about what it meant to move into a faith of my own, to grow up from just the things that had been taught to me and what other people told me to believe. And so I began to ask questions and to think about my faith and what it meant to follow Jesus and what it meant for me to have that one-on-one relationship.
During a revival, my mom and one of my other sisters and I were saved and baptized together.
And I'm fortunate that I have been surrounded by so many people that love Jesus and are passionate about sharing his love with me and with others.
I worked at youth camp, and I got to play music there. That was one of my big roles, and seeing kids' faces light up as you worshiped, and them being introduced to Jesus, that was a huge part of it for me as well. But music, it's where I find God. It's where I find sanctuary.
That's what drew me in to the cross, and that's what I want to come across to other people, is that they matter to Christ.
I think it's really important that we are there for others, that we send out that invitation to come and see what this Jesus is all about.
I think that once we have experienced that, we're naturally motivated to want other people to have that as well. We have compassion towards them and a desire for them to know Jesus in that same way and for Jesus to come into their lives. And so I think it's natural for us to want to offer an invitation to other people in that way.
I feel like a big one is meeting our parents and kids where they're at and not expecting perfection, because Jesus doesn't expect us to be perfect, and he meets us where we're at. And so I think it's important to meet them where they're at and help them grow from there.
I think it's so important to invite others into a relationship with Jesus, because you are offering them a chance of a new life and a new life in Christ. And that doesn't take away some of the hurt that this world offers, but it offers hope and healing to those difficult times. And as a body of believers, if we can invite others to join and to know that same peace that we have, I think that's paramount to the church's mission and to our success.